Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the brand new Star Ace Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix Albus Dumbledore, the 1/6 scale collectible action figure. He gets himself a oval-shaped display stand featuring Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix at the top, as well as a standard circular waist clip that's going to house itself around Dumbledore's waist. He has a gorgeous-looking outfit comprised of multiple layers. Of course, his outer robe has some nice stitching down the side here, as well as around the wrists. Very intricate work there to be said. The back of the figure also has his wizard's hood, which I guess could technically go all the way around the figure's head if you so choose to. Moving away the very realistic hair, they've actually even stitched the interior of the hood, which is something actually you wouldn't even see. The outside of the hood doesn't even convey any sort of stitching until you actually look inside and you see the same mirrored stitching that was from the front carry itself into the interior of the hood too. This is a section you wouldn't even see because his hair would be in front of it, and as well you're going to be displaying the figure from the front. But really additional details like that I do really like, and fine work by Star Ace there. Head sculpt here on Dumbledore is really nicely done. Now, Dumbledore, I didn't like the first release that Star Ace had done based on the Richard Harris, who only appeared in the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This Dumbledore, or Dumbledore 2.0, is based on Michael Gambon's portrayal of Dumbledore for all the remaining films. As it goes for a head sculpt, though, it's really nicely done. And while I did feel like the initial Dumbledore 1.0, if you want to look at it that way, the Richard Harris version of Dumbledore, I didn't think likeness-wise really was missed its mark a little bit, I have to admit. Dumbledore 2.0, or the Michael Gambon version of Dumbledore, I think looks much more accurate to the actor. The ongoing trend, though, with the Star Ace releases is the head sculpts always have fantastic paint, and Dumbledore here is absolutely no exception. You can even see the discoloration right underneath his eyes and running down the cheek area where it's almost more of a darker, slightly bluish tinge to it. As well, they've done some speckling effect onto his skin, giving a much more aged look. Now, his glasses are actually metal. So there's a metal frame to them, so there's a little bit of resiliency, I think, to them. You can see, though, where it's pegged in, which is one slight drawback. The glasses kind of are just pegged into the side of his head. Although, though, if you have the hair slightly to the front, you really don't see it. It's only when you move the hair aside you see that the glasses are plugged right into the side of the skin. They've done it with a couple of their figures too, where they've sculpted the beard and they've kept the hair as a real appliance. Sculpted hair works. Star Ace, though, I think does a good job of matching a sculpt to real hair. It's hit or miss with other 6-scale companies, but they seem to do a pretty good job when it comes down to the rooted hair. Generally, I don't like rooted hair. I don't like doll hair. It just looks artificial to me. It seems to work, though, in this figure, despite the fact that his beard is sculpted. You couldn't, I think, use a real hair appliance or the doll hair to mirror a beard. It would just look too much. It would look too puffy, and you couldn't get some of the fantastic sculpting here that's clearly apparent here on the figure's beard. One thing, though, I do notice is that they've added this extra paint around the top of his forehead. I guess it's to bring some of the doll hair gradually into the head sculpt, but it does look a little jarring that there's this kind of additional paint that has been added to the top portion of it. Now, granted, it's not going to be an issue because, of course, most, if not all, collectors are probably going to be displaying him with his hat. The hat does a fine enough job of covering over that, and you're not going to really see any of the additional paint that we were just talking about. The hat, by the way, seems to use a more denser material, something like more like a cotton or a denim. And, of course, it's got the little pom-pom at the top there, some nice additional fabric that's been running around the band of the lower area of the hat. As accessories go, Dumbledore has one of the taller accessories to come included with a 6 scale Harry Potter figure. He comes with the podium, and the podium looks gorgeous. The back here is a smoother plastic, doesn't really have any additional sculpting to it, and it does have the candlesticks. You can remove this if you so wish. It unpegs via the 2 pegs on the back interior here, that pegs to the back of the owl. Now the Great Hall podium does have a light up effect. Unfortunately, at the time of this review, I didn't install the batteries, but there's an on and off switch, which you would have the tops of the candles, the flames of the candles, light up. Go ahead and attach this back to the owl, like so. It snaps very easily into place. And again, some really nice detailing here on the front of the owl. All the individual feathers have been sculpted in there, as well as a nice, beautiful face sculpt. And your talons, which go then down to this section here, where you have the ball, the somewhat crystal ball, and wrapped around the podium is the tail of the dragon. You can see it starts all the way at the top, wraps itself around the full length of it, and coming down to the sculpt of the dragon there. Some additional dragons with their wings attaching wrap around the base portion of the podium. There's the underside of it. I like again how everything from the movie has been captured here in the podium. Nice sculpting there of the dragons right around the side, as well as the talon claws grabbing onto the balls of the feet that support the stand. In addition to that, he also includes the Sword of Gryffindor. Right down there says Godric Gryffindor. It's nice sculpting on the handle portion, accented with some ruby red gemstones on the sides, around the actual hilt portion, and at the top there as well, peeking off what looks to be a crown at the top of the handle. It's a softer plastic, so caution should be made for displaying the figure that this doesn't actually bend and snap. Great looking detailing though. Of course, he also has to come included with his wand, and this figure does as well. The wand is more simplistic in its design, relying solely more so on just a brown wash. However, they did, and hopefully the camera can do it justice, they have grained the wand itself. So you can see that there's darker lines running through the full length of the wand with a little bit of white to break that up. Rounding out, he has a series of interchangeable hands, 3 in total. Not including, of course, the relaxed hands that are sitting in the sockets of the forearms, which I guess gives us a total of 5. Relaxed palms currently are the default, but he also comes with 2 hands for gripping. 1 hand for the wand, 1 hand for the sword, and then he also comes with a spell casting hand as well. Dumbledore does not come with any sort of energy attachments, nor for the wand, nor for his hands. He's kind of bare bones in that regards. Supposing, though, that the accessories that he does come included with, such as the podium, such as the sword, such as the wand, he does come with a sufficient, if you ask me, amount of accessories. For posability, Dumbledore has a ball joint in the head, which moves very easily. I find it's actually easier to grab it by the beard, which seems a little strange, but you can get much more of a grip here. You can also grab it from the top here, but you tend, if anything, to have the hat on. The hat will probably move around and pop off a little bit sometimes when you are moving the head. But a full range of motion goes for the head. It's also interesting that they've added additional padding. They are probably utilizing the same body mold, body build underneath all of this, but they've added some additional padding to things such as the arms. The legs are right to a default regular leg, and he has some additional padding here in the mid-torso. Speaking of the mid-torso, he has an upper torso crunch, a waist swivel, slightly hindered by the fact that he's got his robe on. As for the arms, a forward and back motion, a bicep swivel, a double hinge in the elbow, and a rotation and hinge in the hand by virtue of the way that the hands are pegged into place. Lastly, he has the forward and the back motion, as well as an out on the leg, a swivel on the thigh, a double hinge knee, and a ball joint in the foot, giving you a little bit of an ankle pivot there as well. Just to kind of show you what it looks like underneath, Dumbledore has kind of like a spandex, like a little white bodysuit underneath there. To be honest, I was slightly disappointed with the Richard Harris release of Dumbledore from Stars. I didn't think like the head sculpt quite hit the mark, I think, when it came to the Richard Harris likeness. On the other hand, Michael Gambon's release of Dumbledore here turned out perfectly. I like the head sculpt. The costume, as always, Star Ace delivers a really high-quality outfit for their 6-scale figures, and I think he has all the necessary accessories that one would want, including the very cool podium here. The Dumbledore, the Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix should be currently available for pickup. For fans of Harry Potter, I definitely think that this is a superior Dumbledore. But if you're a Harry Potter fan, you're likely going to want to pick up the Richard Harris release that we've already looked at before, as well as Michael Gambon's portrayal here. And you can get both of them going. Maybe we will get additional Dumbledore down the road, but I think this one hits everything that I would want the figure to have, and so much more. Today we were once again looking at the Star Ace Albus Dumbledore. This was from the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and this was the 1/6-scale figure release of him. If you haven't had a chance to check out the playlist from all the Star Ace releases that we've looked at on this channel, you can head over to there and check it out, watch them to your viewing pleasure. If you also haven't had a chance to subscribe, I should say, to this channel, what are you waiting for? Click that little subscribe button down below, and you're good to go, and you won't miss a beat when it comes to not only future Star Ace releases, but other videos that are hitting the live web here. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.